It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
Alright, what's up guys and welcome back. For beginners, I must say you guys absolutely killed it on the last video. Over 250,000 views and I'm at like 25,000 subscribers now, which is just like absolutely nuts. So I appreciate you guys watching and commenting and liking, subscribing, you know, all that YouTube stuff. We are back again with a new video, and this video is pretty much, damn, I said it. I'm trying not to say that because a lot of guys are busting my ass about, you know, pretty much and stuff like that. So I'm gonna leave that one in there. I'm gonna try not to say that. So if I do, I'll end up just cutting it out. This way you guys can't say anything about that. But fuck, I say but too a lot. All right. Anyways, god damn it, I can't say it without saying it. So, but I'm gonna be shit. Just got home. We already got some beers. I'm gonna be showing you guys this fuel system, pretty much just what I came up with, and going into details about what I did and why I did it, and you know, all that. Before I show you guys that though, two of the most commented comments were screw your neighbors, you know, why do I care about my neighbors and stuff like that. It's not that I'm worried really for them to call the cops, but it's just I try to be respectful of my neighbors. It's just me, you know, I want to be respectful and stuff like that. I mean, this thing is pretty loud in person. Or aside from that, also I get commented a lot, you know, where did I get the motor from? A lot of people were saying, you know, all the riots that happened, that people stole cars and took the motors out of them, and now, you know, whatever. That's not true. I've had this motor for like over a year now. I mean, you guys see the first video I posted was probably like a year ago now, and I've had that, and that's pre-riots and all that. Anyways, I have a receipt. The motor came out of a flooded Challenger. That's all I got to say about that. Alright guys, so first things first, we ended up using the stock fuel tank. Reason for that was it was already limited for room in the trunk. Figured it'd be a little bit easier. They make, you know, upgraded fuel pumps. They actually call it a Hellcat fuel pump. I think that's like the biggest drop-in fuel pump that you can get. Long story short, used the stock fuel tank. Had to pull the rear subframe out. I didn't put this back yet because I still want to do subframe bushings. I want to get this whole rear end built. It's not really a priority right now as opposed to like getting this thing running. So I did email a couple companies, see if they wanted to sponsor, and one replied and said no. The other two I never heard back from. That's why that thing is still sitting there. But if I get underneath, so it's a little dark under here, and the reason for that is, you guys see I undercoated this. So once I had the gas tank out, the reason for taking the gas tank all the way out, even though I can get to the fuel pumps inside, was because I wanted to delete the stock line, the stock emission line that ran all along top and stuff like that. So I ended up just totally dropping this tank out, and while I had it out, it was a good time to undercoat this. We used some Eastwood chassis satin black. You know, we got all new hardware just for like the stuff that's back here. Took these little, I guess these are like some sort of brackets. Took these off, cleaned them up, new hardware. So at least now when I look underneath this, I'm happy with it. It's nice and clean, all new hardware. And we also, if you guys see this green stuff, this is like Eastwood internal frame coating. It's good stuff. So we did go in all these little cracks and holes and stuff like that, coat the inside of this frame. So I'm pretty happy with how this came out. As far as paint wise goes, this was the emission lines. So this is all factory right here coming over, and then this would have ran to this charcoal canister. They had a line from the front that ran to the back. So since we deleted all that, you still have to vent the gas tank somehow. So what we did was we took this factory line, we cut it, just took a piece of rubber hose, and now it's just directly vented. Again, came out pretty good, pretty happy with it. And these are like the small steps you got to take when you're doing a project like this, because not only do I want this to be like one badass car, but I want it to look the part too, you know. So this paint came out really nice, really happy with it. So everything from like here back is cleaned up. The next thing's going to be is getting this subframe all built up and stuff so we could stick that back in there. All right, so while I'm still laying on the ground underneath here, let me see, we got some new stainless steel braided lines. These are our new fuel lines. One's, you know, the sender, the other one's a return. So we did convert this to a return style system. And the only bad thing was after I got done painting and putting the gas tank back, I went to go figure out how to run these lines, and I wanted them to come out here. All these clips used to hold the stock fuel line and the stock evap line, and they actually fit this this is -8 fuel line perfectly. So I wanted to keep this factory position, I guess, where this thing ran. So the only thing was, I don't know if you guys can see it, there was like no room up there between this part of the body and where I wanted these fuel lines to come out. So I had to drop the gas tank again, take a hammer, beat the crap out of it so I could have enough room. I mean, you guys can see that I was able to use like the stock factory brackets location to run these lines. So they're nicely tucked high up out of the way. Looks clean, looks factory, and pretty happy with that. So now I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna show you guys the inside of this. All right, so now we are inside the car, and this is what I was talking about. They actually have like an access plate where you can just get to the fuel pump, which is very nice. This was like a quick disconnect fitting. So this is an AN to convert. This is -6. Then we have a -6 to a -8 adapter, a little elbow. This is where the lines go down to where I was talking about. And then we also just drilled a return line. Same thing, this was -6. So we have a -8 fitting, all -8 lines. Now there was quite a bit of modifications that I had to do to the fuel sender assembly itself, just to fit the pump and make the return lines work and stuff like that. But a huge shout out to VQFuelUpgrades. I'm going to tag their Instagram in the description below. Pretty much got all the parts, the motor, the return style kit, everything I needed to like do this on my own. So again, big shout out to those guys. Also hooked me up with some instructions to do it myself. So if you guys are, even if you have a stock Z who are looking to upgrade your fuel pump, definitely check them out. And now this is our wiring for it. And this is a factory Mopar fuel pump control module. So what the way this works is it's pulse width modification, or whatever you say. This just changes the voltage of the motor. So if it sees too much pressure, it'll lower the voltage. If it needs more fuel pressure, it'll raise it. So that's pretty much all this thing does. Yeah, I got my wires nicely ran. And this is our fuel pump harness relay that's mounted there. I'm stealing 12 volts from this PDC. This is our ground for now. And the only thing that I didn't like was that the PCM is what controlled the fuel pump. So there is a separate wire, this one that's hanging up here, right here. This will get a 12 volt signal from the PCM to energize this whole relay and circuit to turn the fuel pump on. So what I ended up doing was pulling that pin that went from the PCM to the PDC, and I ran it up here to my second switch. This way I'm in full control of, you know, when the fuel pump's on, this and that. The only reason for that was because I got all these switches and I wanted to fill another spot. So that was pretty much the only reason. Otherwise I could have just left it up to the PCM. But I mean, you guys can't really see up there, but we did start cleaning up some wires. This is just a generic harness that comes with the Mopar standalone kit. So I mean, as far as like wire lengths go and stuff like that, not everything lined up perfectly, so I did have to cut and shorten. For example, like the ignition wires I cleaned up, the accelerator pedal. So pretty much all I did was just cut it out, get it to where I wanted, resplice new wires in, so everything is like nice and tidy, looks factory and stuff like that. So you see our fuel lines run up along here. Instead of running along the inside like stock 350Z fuel lines, and then there's this hole here. This is a factory hole. I still have to get a grommet, but I'm pretty sure this was where the battery tray drain was. So I'm sure I could just, you know, find that grommet or buy another one, make a grommet out of that. This is our area motive fuel pressure regulator. I did order a gauge, it didn't come yet, so I haven't even messed with this. So whether the fuel pressure is right or wrong, I don't know. I really don't want to mess with it until I get a gauge. This is all it is. This is our feed line, our return line, and then we made a little line that connects to our stock fuel rail. Same thing, this was a quick disconnect that we bought an adapter for, and then just -8 lines there. So at this point we can actually start this thing, and it should run a little bit longer depending on the amount of fuel pressure that's being sent to the motor. which I won't know until I get my gauge. But for you guys, screw you neighbors, I don't care what you guys think. You guys have to deal with it. We're gonna start this thing and we're gonna let it run for a couple seconds, a little bit longer than we did the first time. So first, what we're gonna do is prime the fuel, and here we go. All right, let's try that again. I turned it off because all I wanted to do was prime it. I'm gonna try it again. If that don't work, then I'll just leave it on and see what happens. All right, we're just gonna leave it on this time. That is so loud. We gotta get this thing to an exhaust shop. We gotta get something on here just to make this thing a little bit quieter. But I mean, you guys wanted it. There's, I don't know, maybe 5 seconds worth of runtime. Ran really good, nice and smooth. I actually started feeling the heat just from down there on my leg with these open heads. But unfortunately, that's all I got for you guys this time. So again, I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff, and stay tuned for the next video.